foul on the Warriors for calling a timeout when they didn't actually have any timeouts left. So Kawhi went to the line. He hits both. 114-110 is your final, and that's when the Warriors fans started clearing out and the reality set in. So much turnover for this Raptors team, right? You got DeMar DeRozan being traded for Kawhi Leonard. Danny Green comes in as well. Jonas Valanciunas out. Marc Gasol in. And, of course, you can't forget about the coach, Dwayne Casey, the coach of the year. He was ousted last year, and another bold move by Masai Ujiri, and in came Nick Nurse, who was the assistant coach, promoted to head coach, a first-time head coach winning an NBA title. Here's reaction from Nurse after winning the chip last night.
It was a great group, though. They really played together. I thought they really fought hard. They were tough-minded. They didn't seem like this was wearing on them at all. 2 months of playoff basketball. They never seemed tired to me mentally. They kept wanting the film sessions. They kept wanting to walk through things. They kept wanting to keep learning and improving, and I think that was a big key because we had to do that in the playoff run because we really hadn't had all that much time together.
George, you go through the history of the Raptors, so many guys who came and wanted to leave, right? Damon Stoudemire, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Chris Bosh. The Raptors were able to flip that script and get guys to commit and stay long-term. Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, and now that narrative will shift to Kawhi Leonard. Will he stay? Feels like the Raptors have done everything to convince him. We'll probably get that answer in the next couple of weeks. But first, George, a parade on Monday. Or no, Vegas first, and then a parade on Monday. Back to you.
Yeah, you know, the maestro with his magnum opus that presides over all this was the Messiah, Ujiri. And there's buzz out there in NBA land that the Washington Wizards may be offering him $10 million a year to come and run their basketball operations. Let's hope that he sticks it out here in the Great White North, because we could sure use more of that Messiah magic. Gurdeep, thank you. We'll chat again soon.
You got it.
Here at home, the city is celebrating Toronto's first NBA championship. Christina Tenalia keeping an eye on the celebrations, which I'm sure are kind of waning now. What's happening right now, Christina?
Well, there were celebrations, cheers, shouts, and a shooting right here at Yonge and Gould just after about 4:15 this morning. Toronto police initially telling us that the shooting potentially related in some way to the celebratory crowd here. Police say there were upwards of 10,000 people who descended on Yonge Dundas Square as part of celebrations overnight. One man shot, taken to hospital with, at the time of the shooting, police had said were life-threatening injuries. They couldn't provide an update on his condition. And they say there were arrests, but they won't say how many. Police actually just towed away a vehicle here from the scene. They're getting ready to wrap things up here because it's been a few hours. Here's more from a Toronto police superintendent we spoke to earlier this morning.
We had a large crowd here overnight, and probably the majority of the people that were down at the Scotiabank Arena. And they were very jubilant. You know, a lot of folks had had some drinks and some other things, and they were very excited, as you can see behind us. They shattered a bus shelter. We also had a couple of our TTC buses that we use for special events damaged, and as well as 2 police cars.
So at around 5 this morning, between about 5 and 7, city crews were here taking part in what was a pretty significant cleanup of shattered glass on the roadway. Most of it, I should say almost all of it, entirely cleaned up. But if you are heading to the area this morning, and even the Ryerson University campus, watch out, there's still remnants of shards of glass out on the road and sidewalk. Very tiny, just things that look like they were left over. As for this shooting investigation, we're hoping to get an update from police a little bit later on today as their investigation continues. And because there were so many people here in the square, they're asking anyone with any video or who saw anything to get in touch with them. Back to you.
Christina, thanks very much. All right, here's a look at some of the celebrations that happened all around the city. This was the scene outside of a bar on Bay Street, right downtown, the business district. The moment the Raptors clinched the title, fans watching on a patio from the streets as well, quickly spilling out onto the other streets, letting off fireworks downtown. Everybody seemed to be heading for Yonge Dundas Square. That's where tens of thousands gathered to celebrate together. balloons, fans getting really into it, starting an impromptu band and chants of MVP, singing "We Are the Champions," as well as climbing on just about anything they could in order to witness history from a good perch. Police celebrated with fans as well. That was awesome. Posing for pictures, mostly a harmonious after party. And for more on what the fans are saying the morning after the big victory, live to Jamie Goodfreund at Jurassic Park. Good morning.
You know, George, some fans can't believe it's real. Some fans just need to take a little bit of a moment to themselves, to look up at the screen, to let it sink in that we are the 2019 NBA champions. It's got a nice ring to it. And, you know, George, throughout this morning, I've been talking to fans, and I think a lot of Torontonians throughout this entire playoff series, but more so in the last 2 rounds of the playoffs, we didn't quite realize how many fans we have right across the country. From coast to coast, we had people from all provinces come on down to Toronto to cheer on this team. The viewing parties, what a sight to see. And the support that this team, you know, you can argue and you can debate all day who's the best player in the NBA. Is it Steph Curry? Is it Kawhi Leonard? Is it LeBron James? But there's no debating who are the best fans in the entire NBA, and I caught up with them this morning to get their reaction.
I've been a fan for 11 years. Toronto. I watched them when they lost to Orlando 11 years ago, and that was my first game. And coming to watch them win their first championship was an idea of mine, and I let it happen and let it loose, and it happened. And I still can't believe it the next day, even though I was like out since I haven't slept.
I'm very proud of them. It's history in the making. It's I don't watch a lot of basketball, but I have actually been following everything that's been going on down here at Jurassic Park and everything, and it's been very exciting, and I'm very happy for Toronto.
We're very proud of it. We want to be a part of the history of this is the first time that we won, and in the Philippines, basketball is the most watched game, so I want to be part of it, and it really means a lot.
George, this is the proverbial calm after the storm. As you can see, Jurassic Park slowly getting back to normal. I can tell you, having, you know, living in this area, walking home, it was an absolute mess. So shout out to the city crews who did such a good job of cleaning up everything, and a shout out to the Toronto police who made sure that, you know, for the most part, everything was fairly orderly. Obviously, there's